So in the last video, we went ahead and created this rig, and we put a squash controller at the top. So we have this guy up here, which controls squashing, and this is our movement, and then we put a NURBS controller for each one of the tail components. And so let's go ahead and go to create. I'm going to just clean out this a little bit. It seems to be running pretty slow. So I'm going to go edit, delete all by type. Try that again. Delete all by type, non-deformer history. Seems to be okay. So I'm going to go ahead and go to create polygon primitives, and I'm going to turn on interactive creation. So create polygon primitives here, and I'm just going to create a plane. And with that, I can actually drag out just the ground plane for my sphere to run on. And then I'm going to introduce you to something new, which is our layers down here. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer. And what you'll notice is because this was selected when I created this layer, it allows me to create and it automatically added to this layer. So this first option here makes it visible. Now the second option, what this does essentially means it's visible during playback, right? So if we turn this off and I press play, you'll notice it disappears. But if I turn it back on, you see it's there during playback. So that's all that P does. So you can hide certain things while you're animating. The T here, when switched between T and R, it's translucent. And now with it when we set it to R, I don't have to necessarily select it. And I can also turn off my grid here too. So show grid. So I have my little plane to work with. I'm gonna go ahead and shift this guy all the way back here and just set that for my beginning position. And then let's take a look at my settings for the timeline. I have it set to 24, 1, and frames. So let's see if that's saved. And for now, just at the edge here, let's kind of move it forward a little bit. I'm gonna hit F to focus. I'm just gonna animate it hopping in place, and then I'll move it across the surface. So there's a bunch of different ways to do this. You can actually animate it moving across the surface, which is more of the film way of doing it. I'm sort of doing the in-between game and film, because some of you might be game students, others might be film. So I have my timeline set to 100. I can even set it to 60 for now, for time's sake. And what I want to do is with this circle selected, on frame 1, 20, 40, and 60, I'm just going to set it on the ground. So here's 1, and then I'm going to find 20, and then 40, and then 60, it's on the ground. And then from frame 10, which is here, I'm going to move it to the air, and I'm going to hit S to set a key. So it looks like, I'm going to go ahead and zero this out. Those didn't key. So let's make sure that's 1 is set a key. And then I'm just going to middle mouse click on 20, set a key, 40, set a key, and then 60, set a key. And then I'm going to click on that middle one. It's in the air here. That's 10. And I'm going to middle mouse click on 20, set a key. Why is my S not? Sorry, my key doesn't seem to be working here. So what it looked like the issue was where I was not able to set the keys. I actually had to just switch it from Maya Classic back to animation, oddly enough. And now I was on, here's 1, and then 1, here's here, and then I middle mouse clicked. It asked to set a key, and then I want to do 10, 20, 30, and now it looks like it keys everything. So now I can press S to set a key. So we're just kind of like going up and down. So here's 20, on 40, set a key, 60, set a key. So if that happens to you, just switch it off. So here's 30, 40, 50, S to set a key. So we just get this sort of little hop up and down. All right, let's go back to the beginning. All right, so let's do window, animation, and then let's open up our graph editor. And I'm going to dock this down here. And let's look at our Y translation. So let's go ahead and select all of this here. And then tangents, let's go to our, there we go, weight tangents. So now we've got these nice and weighted. So let's go ahead and break these. And just like we did in the last video, where we did the bouncing ball itself, where we break these handles and then we move them up, right? So we create a nice And what I'll actually do is let it play here so you can see that. You can see as the ball comes up and down, it's not floaty as it is here. See in the very beginning. Here, let's go to our left view so you can see that a little bit better. I'm going to hit F to focus. So as we scrub through this, notice how when it falls, it hits a little bit harder and smoother. And then here, it holds for a while, it hangs down here. So that's sort of the power behind this right here. So we're just creating a nice little hit here. So now when we play it, you can see nice little bump. It's following along. I'm going to pull these out a little bit because I like the way it was floating here. And then I'm going to sharpen this up a little bit more. Tighten this up. Let's see how that looks. I mean, we could even play with it a little bit like this, where he does like a little bit higher pop on that second jump. So he kind of hangs a little bit more on that middle one. Okay, so just like in the last video, here we are at 1. As he's in the air, I'm going to offset that a little bit. So I'm going to select this guy. And actually, let's select both of these. So that way, here's 1. I'm going to set a key. And I'm just going to shoot over to 10, set a key. And all I'm doing is really locking in that this top circle here, right? So that it holds the shape. So set a key here, and I'm just going down this timeline for 50 and then 60. And then what I can do is here's 4, and I can offset this bounce a little bit this way. And I'm going to remember this value. So let's say 0.15, and I'm just going to copy that and then set a key. Come on, why are you doing that again? There we go. So you can see he stretches out a little bit here. And then I'll go over 4 frames from here. So 4, and then we'll do 14. So he jumps. Here's 4. Stretches out. I don't know if that's exaggerated enough. Maybe we should do a full 2. Oh, maybe we shouldn't. Let's do 0.2. There we go. So 0.2. Here's 1. 10 he's in the air. 20 he's on the ground. Let's delete this for a second. In the air. So what I want to do is I want him to stretch as he comes up, and then as he's coming down from 10, I'm going to have him stretch again. So about that same value. So let's do here 0.4. I'm going to do 14. I'm just middle mouse clicking here. Set a key. Come on. Maya's acting a little crazy. So here, 14. And let's go to our right view again, or left view rather. So you can see as he comes up, he stretches. As he begins to come down, he stretches a little bit more. So 14, 24, 34, 44, 54. So now we get a nice little stretch as he's coming up and coming down. We need to add a bit of a squash too, right? So like he's coming up, he stretches. As he's coming down, he starts to even out and then he stretches again. So we need to sort of offset or play with these frames a little bit so it's not so jumping. So let's go ahead and add that squash. And if you remember how we did that last time, um, we held it for 2 frames, our squish in the same spot. So let's go ahead and select this. Let's look at just our translate Y. And I'm going to middle mouse click on 2, so I hold that in place. I'm going to hit S to set a key. And then I'm going to flatten these. And what I'll do is, on this frame, same sort of deal, right? Here's 1, here's 2. I'm going to middle mouse click on 2, and I'm just going to add a bit of a squash here. And so we can do -0.2. so that I can remember point 2 up, point 2 down. So actually, let's just go ahead and try this experiment where, here, let's do minus point 0.2, set a key there. Let's see if that holds. Yeah, and then I'm going to middle mouse here, hit S to set a key. So it holds, and then as he's coming up, all right, so wherever our fall is, right, so this is 20 here, right? I'm just going to select this, go all the way to 20, set a key, click on 20 again, or go to 21, set a key. So we get that same thing going on. Actually, I forgot to grab both of these. Here's 20, set a key, click on 21, set a key. And then it comes up. So let's see, let's go to the next holding position, which is 40. So I'm going to middle mouse click on 40, 41, right? So these hold. And then the last fall is 60. So let's select 40, middle mouse 60, and then 59. And then let's see how that looks. And we've got to play with these values. I mean, they're already too even, but for now, it's kind of a good, and actually it might need to get exaggerated a little bit more. Like we've got a little bit of a bump or a double. It's too much of a fall, like, it's because he's here and he falls. So we have to play with that in our graph editor too. So let's select our translate Y here. Go on. And actually this video is getting a little bit too long. So for example, like you'll notice this is here on our translate Y. We've got a nice bump here, but we really need to break this tangent. So we're going to do all that stuff in the next video.